What's a company secret you can share now that you don't work there? 1. Health insurance dude. When you file a claim, it is often denied because they're counting on you not escalating it. Once you do, your case goes to a medical management group, which ought to be called the We Don't Want to Pay group. Keep escalating and involve your doctor. Fight for the insurance you paid for. 2. Mortgage industry here. We're like cops. Only answer the question asked. Do not provide additional information to be helpful. It could screw you over. 3. I worked at L'Oreal. The cosmetics from L'Oreal and Lancome are practically the same, but Lancome costs like $20 more. 4. This isn't a company secret, but I worked part-time at a Domino's franchise in college. The owner was, at first glance, a short-tempered, critical penny pincher who did everything he could to save business money, right down to watching over your shoulder to make sure you didn't put too much cheese on a pizza. Cheese is called white gold in the pizza industry, even back in 2002. But after working for him for a while, you realized why he was so specific about the margins. Twice yearly, he would send out generous bonuses in the form of the money orders made out to his employees from his own personal savings account. To the college students working for him, the check's money orders contained the memo line, "Keep learning." The amount of the money orders would be directly correlated to the profit margins of the stores he owned. The dude did legit profit sharing. After I graduated, I heard a rumor that he was trying to start up a small education grant trust that would benefit applicants of the Farmer School of Business at Miami University, but I don't think anything ever came of it. This owner also played favorites when hiring. Every single one of his managers was a former employee. 3 of the 4 managers at his stores when I worked there had graduated from my college with business degrees. All 4 of them had a small portion of their education paid for by Marvin Covington. Marvin Covington, Oxford, Ohio Domino's owner from Vevey, Indiana, died in 2017. That dude knew how to do business and do it right. 5. Oprah Winfrey had us edit her arm waddles in post-production. 6. I worked for a major hotel chain in housekeeping for over 10 years. The number of suicides and people who die naturally in their rooms is a lot higher than you'd think. I worked at a huge convention hotel with over 1,000 rooms, and it happened quite often. Unless it was a pretty gnarly mess, it would just get cleaned like normal and the next guest had no idea. 7. At one of the hotels I worked at, a woman killed herself by drinking antifreeze. Her body was blue, blood, vomit, and poop everywhere. My friend who was maintenance saw it and couldn't sleep at night. Working at hotels will change you. 8. Diet Sprite and Sprite Zero were the exact same thing. They didn't change the recipe one bit. They just changed the name and design. 9. If you were on live chat with customer care, I could see what you were typing before pressing send. I watched people work through grotesque, racist, sexist statements, fraudulent lies and mistruths, meticulous grammar fixes, and their whole range of emotions in real time before deleting and typing OK. 10. If you pick up a wall phone at Home Depot and push 7, it activates the store-wide intercom. This works in every store in my province. 11. I don't think it's a bad secret at all, but back in college, I delivered pizzas for Papa John's. The store manager must have had an undiagnosed case of OCD or germophobia or something, because every night, he would assign someone to do the cleaning duties, mopping floors, double-checking expiration dates, throwing away expired stuff, etc. And every night, he would absolutely lose his temper and berate whoever was doing the cleaning. They were going too fast. They weren't cleaning everything. Whatever. After that, he'd always take over the cleaning himself. He was amazingly picky about the cleanliness and food quality. Expiration date is 3 days from now. Fuck that. I'll order more. Throw the shit away. We're not serving it. He would also go out of pocket to buy special cleaning products because that worthless bullshit that corporate wants us to use doesn't get the job done. He was also in out of pocket to hire some kind of specialist to clean out the fountain drink dispenser, ice machine and all that stuff. The machine needs to always be as close to brand new as possible. One standout moment for me was when he reduced the cashier to tears by hollering, "Would you eat off this floor?" No. Then I teased not clean enough. He wasn't telling her to eat off the floor. He was just making a point. After we'd closed the store, he'd kick all of us out, lock up behind us and stay until something like 2 a.m. cleaning the place. You always knew when he closed because you could smell the chemical scent still lingering in the air. The end result of this was the store, the food, the equipment and the facilities were always in squeaky clean condition. Customers, somehow, picked up on what a perfectionist the store manager was and bought from us all the time. Because there's a lot of peace of mind that goes in with knowing your food was cooked by someone willing to throw ingredients away before the expiration date, stay in the store until God knows when cleaning everything, etc. The true irony was how much the boss hated himself, because he didn't think he was doing a good enough job to run a clean restaurant with fresh ingredients. It didn't matter how many compliments he got from customers, or how many service industry veterans said they'd never worked in a place as obsessive about freshness and cleanliness as his Papa John's store. He was convinced his store was still a filthy barn. Eventually, he got promoted to some kind of higher-level corporate position, district manager. That required him to visit other stores and make sure they were all up to spec. The end result of that was a lot of stores in this area, all improved seemingly overnight. 12. Ford parts from Mexico are way more reliable than Ford parts from Detroit, or at least they were before 2020. I worked in Detroit and we had some customers who were fussy about us always doing repairs with Michigan parts. But when we had a problem that wouldn't stay fixed, we would always secretly switch to the Mexican parts, which did solve things. 13. I was a prison guard a decade ago, and we installed some facial tracking software in the surveillance cameras. One of the inmates panicked while cleaning the unused solitary confinement cells, which is usually a desirable job. It's easy as fuck and nobody pays attention to you. And he insisted that he be moved out of that job because there was a ghost. The ranking officers decided to check the new cameras, and the security software claimed it saw a face behind the inmate at the same time as he was visibly startled in the camera footage. We're all aware there are mundane reasons why a new facial recognition system would think it saw a ghost, but since the inmate and the security software both thought there was a ghost, it was decided that the inmate should be immediately transferred at no penalty. 14. I'll say it. A place similar in name to past face urgent care, at least in the region I worked at, banned their front desk from informing customers that they have a credit balance to use toward their services, and still required us to charge customers the full price on top of what we already owed them. Some accounts had like $500 of copay that should have been refunded but weren't. I was actually reprimanded for applying the credit balance, because despite finance agreeing my method was correct, the regional manager said it was not a good look for the company and hindered her profits. 15. I worked at Olive Garden in the mid-90s while I was in college. Back then, they had the all-you-can-eat soup, salad and breadsticks lunch special for like $4.25 plus tax. Working lunch shift sucked. You would get probably 2 or 3 tables, and there was a 99% chance that all of your tables were 2 ladies getting this lunch special with water during their lunch break. After about a year, several of our best servers were mysteriously fired. It turns out, they were running a scam where they used the same receipt over and over again when these ladies paid for their meal with cash. Since we could get those 3 items ourselves from the back without ringing them into the system, these servers were just pocketing the cash for the entire meal. So instead of making like $5 to $8 in tips during a lunch shift like the rest of us dumb schmucks, they would make an extra $20 or so by stealing from the company. 16. Worked at Best Buy 20 years ago. Employee discount was 5% over cost and I needed a new printer. Decided to splurge on the gold-plated USB printer cable that we sold for $40. Rang up $1.78. 17. I used to work surveillance at a casino. From something like 3 stories high ceiling, we could zoom in on money on the table games and read the serial numbers of the bills. We could see the pips on the dice. Policy was to not look down blouses. 18. I used to work as a receptionist at an upscale salon. While I was there, the salon introduced a new line of products marketed towards men. Up until that point, most of our products were marketed towards women. But the execs saw that we were getting more male customers. Every item in the men's product line was about half the cost of our other products. The men's shampoo was the exact same shampoo the salon had been selling for years, but because they put it in black packaging with the word man on it, it was half the price. The owner's explanation was, well, men don't want to pay that much for her products. For the rest of the time I worked there, every time a woman came up to buy that shampoo, I'd tell her that the men's shampoo was the exact same product for half the price. 19. Your warranty service part that took 8 months actually arrived 3 weeks after they paid the invoice. They didn't even order it for 7 months. They told you it was manufacturing delays and supply chain issues, but in reality they couldn't afford to pay their bills and had to pick and choose which orders to place. You weren't a priority. They were just really bad at budgeting and damage control. 20. Hotels do not typically have security, maintenance or housekeeping on staff 24/7. Once housekeeping finishes cleaning all the rooms, the entire staff leaves except for one front desk employee. I used to work at a 600-plus room Hyatt. After 11 o'clock, one front desk person, 1 to 2 housekeepers, one phone operator, one cop every night in case drunk people would cause a scene or bums would sneak in. I used to be security 3211 before getting switched to front desk. I used to walk through the whole hotel, all 30 floors, and make sure bums didn't sneak in to sleep in the hallways and feast on old banquet food, or shoot up in the parking garage stairs. I would walk around with the housekeeping manager, he became a good friend, and shoot the shit because I didn't actually have anything I needed to do. I used to see all the fucked up and nasty shit people would do to the hotel rooms. Manager, my friend, used to get called for all the weird stuff, and I would just go with him to hang out, and we could joke about it and judge people being weirdos. Pro tip: if a hotel has carpet, don't touch it with your bare feet. The carpet might get cleaned twice a year but is vacuumed every stay. But you have no idea how many people spill food. Every drink imaginable. Piss, vomit, everything. They have a special ozone machine that fully deodorizes everything in the room, basically fumigating it. Then a little spray on the carpet and good as new? It is crazy, and a little disturbing, how well those things work. Pro tip 2. Security at a big hotel was definitely the cushiest job I have ever had. I had free reign and master keys of the entire hotel and all convention banquet areas. All I had to do was patrol, which entailed me once or twice a night walking by every room in the hotel, making sure all the doors were locked by the end of the night. There were a shitload of doors and back hallways, housekeeping floor, 2 engineering floors, 2 kitchens and like 15 to 20 convention banquet areas. But this basically gave me 8 hours a day, where I didn't have to be anywhere at any specific time. I just wandered aimlessly around the hotel and hung out with people from all the different departments. I made friends with all the banquet manager girls, because I would get called to unlock banquet rooms that the setup team left locked, and would help them get all the lights on and make sure nobody was sleeping in there. But I got hooked up with all the banquet foods. There was always extras. So many different snacks, wedding food, bagels, breakfast tacos, breakfast sandwiches, so many cookies and little desserts. After work, everyone would meet up at the bar down the street and get wasted and hang out. It was awesome. Became friends with everyone at the front desk and eventually got moved over there because I thought I wanted to get into hotel management. Honestly, housekeeping manager is the way to get into hotel management. Front office just gets you yelled at by angry business travelers. I would never go back and work in a hotel now. But if you are in your early 20s or in college, highly recommended. Not sure if anyone will even read this, but this is basically just me unlocking forgotten memories from 2009.